There's a CBD in one. Hello. I'm just catching my place again. Today, we are celebrating, well, not celebrating. Today is the 50-year anniversary of the beginning of the war on drugs. And I'm here to give you a history lesson, my friends. June 17, 2021 marks exactly 50 years since President Nixon famously declared drugs public enemy number one. The all-out offensive that ensued fueled the over-policing of our neighborhoods. This is a very American-centric article. The militarization of our law enforcement agencies, the tragedy of mass incarceration, and countless other inefficiencies in the criminal justice system that continues to plague the world today, basically. As we all know too well, the so-called war on drugs and the carceral state it helped to create has always really been a war on people. As declarations of war go, it was a pretty low-key declaration. On the 17th of June 1971, President Richard M. Nixon held a news briefing in the West Wing of the White House. In his usual dark suit and striped tie, speaking comfortably from notes, hello Harold, sorry, the president branded Americans' rising tide of drug abuse as public enemy number one. He continued, in order to fight and defeat this enemy, it is necessary to wage a new all-out offensive. This will be a worldwide offensive. This will be a government-wide and nationwide offensive. To fund this new war, Nixon declared that he would ask Congress to appropriate a minimum of $350 million. In 1969, when Nixon first took the oath of office, the nation's entire federal budget was just $81 million. 50 years later, the United States alone has expended approximately $1 trillion waging a war on drugs. The war on drugs has continued to lose public support in the decades since. At least one recent survey indicates decriminalization has become a majoritarian position, especially in the United States. 55% of those surveyed said that all drug offences should be treated not as felonies but as civil offences, like a minor traffic violation rather than a crime that leads you going to jail. They saw a war with no end, a merciless and destructive juggernaut that was upending communities, families and individual lives. To little purpose. The war on drugs had basically become a civil war. And with the growing movement giving legitimacy by scientists and members of medical and therapeutic community, it has emerged that the challenge to total criminal sanctioning of LSD, other hallucinogens, researchers now insist that drugs can alleviate and even cure a range of illnesses, including PTSD, depression, and addiction. A few localities, including Denver, Oakland, and Santa Cruz, California, have gone further, completely decriminalizing the use of psilocybin for any purpose, including recreation. I think we need to go there, guys. Yet on this issue as well, the federal government has continued to classify hallucinogens as Schedule I drugs, making them extremely difficult to research for scientists and extremely difficult for scientists to legally access them so that they can study them in a clinical setting. Most Americans, most of the world now agrees that the 50-year-long war on drugs has failed. We've begun to negotiate an end to this tragic and destructive war. We must demand that our elected officials find the political courage they need to win back peace. That's your history lesson on the war on drugs. It's the war against a plant, bro.
A few plants.
A few plants. Yeah. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, drugs are winning. Drugs are winning. They've been winning all the time. $1 trillion later and we're still winning.